10. Brian Keith Hawkins. In a chilling narrative of crime and eventual redemption, the story of Frank McAllister's murder unfolds with harrowing details. On a fateful day in May 1993, 19-year-old McAllister was lured into a deadly trap. Under the pretense of a drug deal, his girlfriend Shauna Nicole Culver, her brother Curtis, and acquaintance Brian Keith Hawkins led him to a secluded spot in Shingleton, California. Their true motive was far more sinister. They planned to rob McAllister of $4,500, a sum he'd received from a car crash settlement. The plot took a grim turn in the isolated woods of Shingleton. Hawkins and Curtis Culver brutally ended McAllister's life, a cold-blooded murder that saw them fleeing with his money and car. The car was later found abandoned, a silent witness to the heinous act. Despite McAllister's disappearance and subsequent recovery of his vehicle, the culprits remained at large, their crime shrouded in mystery. Fast forward to 25 years later, in a twist of fate, the burden of guilt and a newfound spiritual awakening led Hawkins to confess. Walking into a news station, he laid bare the truth of that tragic day, leading to the arrest of his accomplices. This confession, born out of a quest for redemption and peace, brought closure to a long-standing mystery. In the end, justice was served. Hawkins, grappling with his conscience, received a sentence of 25 years to life for first-degree murder and robbery. The Culver siblings also faced the consequences of their actions, with Curtis receiving a 35-year sentence and Shauna, 20 years, for their roles in this unforgivable crime. 9. Thomas Randall. In a daring heist straight out of a Hollywood movie, 20-year-old Ted Theodore Conrad masterminded an audacious bank robbery in 1969. Working as a teller at Society National Bank in Cleveland, Ohio, Conrad meticulously orchestrated his plan, inspired by the film The Thomas Crown Affair, which had captivated him. On July 11, 1969, he smoothly walked out of the bank at closing time with a paper bag holding $215,000, an amount equivalent to a staggering $1.7 million today. By the time the bank discovered the theft, Conrad had vanished, skillfully evading detection and severing all ties with his past, including his family and friends. Adopting the alias Thomas Randall, Conrad started anew in Boston, Massachusetts, the city where his cinematic inspiration was set. He cleverly reinvented himself, securing a new social security card and altering his age. His life took a remarkable turn as he befriended an FBI agent, unaware of Randall's true identity. In the 1970s, Randall found success as an assistant golf pro and eventually as a manager at a country club outside Boston. He settled into a normal life, marrying Kathy Mahan in 1982 and having a daughter, all the while working in the car business and selling luxury vehicles until his retirement. The truth about Conrad's past only surfaced in May 2021, 52 years post-heist, when he made a deathbed confession to his wife, struck by lung cancer. Following his death, an astute tipster connected the dots from Randall's obituary, leading to a breakthrough in the long-unsolved case. U.S. Marshal Peter Elliott, whose father had also worked on this case, finally uncovered Conrad's true identity, bringing closure to one of the most enigmatic bank heists in history. 8. John Michael Ermer. In 1979, Susan Marcia Rose, a 24-year-old from Johnston, Pennsylvania, faced a tragic fate after moving to Boston, Massachusetts. On the chilling night of October 30th, she encountered John Michael Ermer at a skating rink. The evening took a horrific turn when they entered a nearby apartment building under renovation. There, Ermer brutally attacked Rose with a hammer, ending her life, and then committed an atrocious act of rape. The case initially led to the wrongful trial of another man in 1981, leaving the true perpetrator at large. Decades passed, and in a stunning twist of fate, 44 years later in August 2023, the now 68-year-old Ermer, burdened by his heinous act, surrendered himself to the FBI in Portland, Oregon. His confession revealed not just the cold-blooded murder and rape of Rose, but also his guilt in another killing in California, serving around 30 years in prison for it, and an additional murder in a southern state. Forensic breakthroughs linked Irmer to the crime through DNA evidence, conclusively connecting him to the long unsolved case. On September 11, 2023, justice began to unfold as Irmer faced arraignment in Boston, charged with murder and aggravated rape. 7. David Zandstra. On a serene August morning in 1975, in Marple Township, Pennsylvania, a young Gretchen Harrington, aged 8, embarked on a solo journey to her Bible camp at Trinity Church Chapel, a deviation from her usual routine, necessitated by her family's recent joyful addition. It was during this solitary walk that Reverend David Zandstra, a familiar face from her church and father to one of her closest friends, approached her. Under the guise of kindness, he offered her a lift. Tragically, this ride never led to the church. In a horrific turn of events, Zandstra drove the innocent child to a secluded woodland, where his sinister intentions surfaced. Gretchen's brave refusal to comply with his demands resulted in a merciless attack, ending her young life. Her body was heartlessly abandoned in Ridley Creek State Park. Zandstra returned to his routine, masking his heinous act with chilling composure. He even participated in the search for Gretchen, deceitfully reporting her disappearance to the authorities and playing the role of a concerned pastor at her funeral. For decades, the truth lurked in the shadows, with Zandstra evading suspicion. However, a breakthrough emerged on January 2, 2023. A former classmate of Gretchen's, also close to Zandstra's daughter, revealed during an interview with investigators that she had been victimized by Zandstra. Her childhood diary entries further implicated him in Gretchen's disappearance. This crucial evidence led Pennsylvania State Police to Marietta, Georgia, where they confronted an 83-year-old Zandstra. Confronted with his past, he confessed to his crimes. On July 14, 2023, justice finally echoed through the halls of time as David Zandstra was apprehended and charged with criminal homicide, multiple degrees of murder, kidnapping of a minor, and possession of an instrument of crime, a long-awaited reckoning for a heinous crime that had remained unsolved for 48 years. 6. John Paul. In the bustling heart of London, the mysterious disappearance of 42-year-old Anthony Bird, a dedicated porter and part-time barman at the Railway Tap Pub, sparked a chilling mystery. On the fateful day of June 6, 1980, when Bird uncharacteristically missed his shift, alarm bells rang. The subsequent police discovery in his modest one-bedroom flat was horrifying. Bird, discovered naked, his wrists cruelly bound with a sinister black electrical cable. The scene was disturbing, his flat thoroughly plundered, valuable electronics and alcohol missing. Despite extensive forensic efforts and inquiries with neighbors, the perpetrator remained a shadow, eluding justice for over 4 decades. Then, in a startling development on May 5, 2021, the cold case took an unexpected twist. 61-year-old John Paul, hailing from Ladbroke Grove, Kensington, made a bombshell confession at the Hammersmith police station, admitting to Bird's brutal slaying. Paul revealed a fateful encounter on June 3, 1980, that began with a proposition and ended in tragedy. His initial intent to rob Bird spiraled into a violent assault, using cable to restrain and a piece of wood to render him unconscious, before returning to pilfer Bird's possessions. Intriguingly, forensic evidence from the crime scene, fingerprints, long remained an enigma, now found their match in Paul. However, the courtroom saga that followed was as unpredictable as the crime itself. Paul, having confessed, stunningly recanted his admission, denying murder and even an alternative manslaughter charge. The legal battle culminated on November 4, 2022, when justice, long delayed, was finally served. Paul received a sentence of at least 19 years, a somber closure to a case that haunted London for over 41 years. 5. Glenn Samuel McCurley. 17-year-old Carla Walker and her boyfriend, Rodney McCory, went to a Valentine's Day dance at Western Hills High School on February 17, 1974, in Fort Worth, Texas. After the dance, the couple hung out at a local Taco Bell and then went to the Ridgely Bowl bowling alley to use the restrooms. However, while the two were in the bowling alley parking lot, a man opened the passenger door and pulled Walker out of the vehicle. McCrory stated that the man told him he was going to kill him, but although the man pulled the trigger of his gun 3 times, no shots were fired. McCrory was pistol-whipped until he passed out, and when he came to, Walker was gone. After Walker was abducted, she was held captive, sexually assaulted, and then murdered. On February 20, 1974, her body was found in a culvert in a remote area near Benbrook Lake. Police later found a magazine near Walker's purse in the bowling alley parking lot, which was from a .22 caliber Ruger pistol. At that time, Glenn Samuel McCurley became a suspect in the case, given his purchase of the same type of pistol and the fact that he lived approximately 1 mile (1.6 kilometers) from the bowling alley parking lot. However, when interviewed, McCurley claimed his gun had been stolen while he was fishing, and given that he was an ex-convict, he didn't report the theft. Additionally, even though McCurley's work schedule confirmed he was not working on the day of Walker's kidnapping or the day after, he denied any involvement, claiming he had never seen Walker before. Sadly, given the technology at the time and limited evidence, Walker's murder went unsolved. However, thanks to advances in technology, the DNA profile of a potential suspect was later able to be created, which listed a suspect with the last name of McCurley as their killer. In July 2020, detectives were able to obtain DNA from McCurley's trash, and on September 4, 2020, that sample proved to be a match to the DNA on Walker's clothes. On September 10, 2020, Glenn Samuel McCurley was arrested and charged with capital murder in connection with Carla Walker's death. On the pivotal third day of his trial, dated August 24, 2021, an emotionally overwhelmed defendant issued a written confession, a momentous turning point in the case. This confession promptly led to a life sentence. However, in a twist of fate, McCurley passed away due to natural causes in July 2023 while still in custody. 4. Carl Smith. In the shadowed streets of Chicago's uptown neighborhood, a chilling event unfolded in March 2003. Antoine Carter's life was tragically cut short, and Ronnie Bolden was left injured when a figure known only as Twin unleashed a barrage of gunfire. This moniker Twin cloaked the true identity of the perpetrator, leading to a complex intertwining of destinies between Kevin Duger and his identical twin brother Carl Smith, both entangled in the murky world of drugs and gangs. Fast forward to 2005, Kevin Duger faced a stark verdict, condemned to a 54-year prison sentence for first-degree murder, despite his consistent claims of innocence. The plot thickened a decade later. In an unexpected twist, locked away in his cell, Carl Smith penned a confession that shattered the silence, admitting he was the real gunman in that fateful uptown shooting. Despite his effort to unburden his conscience, Duger's initial silence towards Smith's revelation speaks volumes of the complexities of brotherhood entwined with guilt. The legal system, however, cast a shadow of doubt over this late confession. In 2018, a judge dismissed Smith's admission as implausible, citing his recent failed appeal and life-altering 99-year sentence for a separate heinous crime. This decision left Duger in a limbo of injustice, his hopes for freedom dimmed. Yet, in a dramatic turn, a subsequent review in the appeals court ignited a flicker of hope. They saw merit in Smith's confession, leading to Duger's long-awaited release in January 2022 after nearly 2 decades of incarceration. Kevin Duger's story, emerging from the depths of a flawed justice system, highlights the convoluted path to truth and redemption. His release, though a delayed justice, serves as a stark reminder of the intricate and often fallible nature of our legal proceedings. As he stepped into a transitional facility, beginning a new chapter, one can't help but ponder the profound impact of identity, truth, and justice in our society. 3. Scott Frederick Fenner. In the quiet of a June morning in 2012, Scott Frederick Fenner, 59, made a startling discovery: his wife, Debbie Lyons Fenner, 50, lifeless in their Lodi Township home. The scene, scattered with prescription bottles and an unfinished beer, suggested a tragic end. Despite no visible injuries, the autopsy pointed to a lethal mix of drugs and alcohol. But the story took a dramatic turn over a decade later. In 2023, burdened by years of guilt, Fenner walked into a police station, confessing to assisting in his wife's death. He painted a picture of Debbie grappling with severe health struggles, leading them to consider a merciful end. Fenner described researching a painless method, acting in the early hours but delaying the report of her passing. Haunted by his actions, Fenner's life spiraled into drug abuse and mental health crises. Now facing a terminal illness himself, he sought to confront his past. Charged with open murder, Fenner's fate hangs in balance, potentially facing life imprisonment, a stark reminder of the complexities and consequences in the realm of assisted suicide. 2. Joseph George Sutherland. In a heart-wrenching turn of events that gripped the city of Toronto, Susan Tice, 45, a dedicated family therapist and loving mother to 4 teenagers, met a tragic end in her own home on August 17, 1983. The horror of this scene was mirrored just months later when Erin Gilmore, 22, an ambitious fashion designer with dreams as bright as her lineage as the daughter of mining mogul David Gilmore, was discovered lifeless in her apartment on December 20, 1983. Both women suffered unspeakable violence, leaving the community in shock and despair. For years, these 2 brutal crimes remained isolated mysteries, hindered by the era's limited forensic technology. It wasn't until 2000, with the advent of advanced DNA profiling, that a chilling connection between the 2 cases emerged. This breakthrough, however, did not immediately lead to the perpetrator. It took over 2 decades of relentless pursuit and the evolution of genetic genealogy before the Sutherland family came into the spotlight. The meticulous police work narrowed down the suspects to one, 61-year-old Joseph George Sutherland. In an unforeseen twist, before the DNA results could even confirm suspicions, Sutherland, overwhelmed by guilt, confessed to a retired police officer friend, leading to his arrest on November 24, 2022. Charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, Sutherland now awaits his sentencing on December 14, 2023, bringing a somber closure to a saga that haunted Toronto for nearly 4 decades. 1. Tony Peralta. In a turn of events that sounds like a plot from a crime thriller, the mysterious disappearance of 69-year-old William Bill Blodgett from Roswell, New Mexico, finally found closure in 2023. For over a decade, his whereabouts remained an enigma after his sudden vanishing on Christmas Eve 2008. Despite extensive searches by authorities, including the use of cadaver dogs and thorough questioning of associates, no trace of him was found. His home and possessions remained untouched, and his bank account showed no activity, deepening the mystery. The case took a dramatic twist when Tony Peralta, a young tenant of Blodgett's, unexpectedly confessed to his murder in a phone call to the police from a local gas station. Peralta, driven by drug-induced desperation, admitted to killing Blodgett in a dispute over money. His confession led authorities to Blodgett's home, where they uncovered human remains under the floorboards, identified as Blodgett's through dental records. Peralta, initially pleading not guilty to first-degree murder, eventually accepted a plea deal for second-degree murder, resulting in a 15-year prison sentence. This shocking revelation brought a tragic yet conclusive end to the long-standing mystery of William Blodgett's disappearance, leaving a community and a grieving family with the bitter truth of a tale that's as chilling as it is heart-wrenching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel for more content. Also, don't forget to share this video with your friends. We appreciate your support. Bye.